everybody, it's Juliet here, back with another project for you. So today we're going to be using some materials from Beebeecraft that I've showed you before, and we're going to make this really beautiful spring earring, but we're going to make it in reverse. So we'll have the green one be on the left hand side and the pink on the other side, so that they reflect each other. Okay. And I think this is such a cute little pretty earring. You can do this in any of the colors, really. So we're using this set that I've shown you previously, but I mean, you could do it with white, you could do it with blue, you can do it with green, you can match your own color scheme the way you like. And we're also using some flowers out of this box that I've shown you. And again, I will put the links for all of this down below in the description box if you're interested in purchasing, or you can go to Beebeecraft using the link. And you can use the code JULES10 and get 10% off your order. And then we're also using some of these hoops out of this set, which is a set of circles and ovals. So again, I will put the link for this down in the description as well, so you can get all those things. Use the code JULES10 and you'll get your 10% off at Beebeecraft. Okay, so the oval we're using is 25 millimeters by 12 millimeters. And then this ring is kind of 11 millimeters, approximately 11 millimeters round. It's the smallest circle that's in the set, and I believe this is the largest oval that's in the set. Or actually, it might be the second largest. I'm not sure. But yeah, if you just measure, it was 25 millimeters tall. Okay, you'll need an earring wire and a jump ring and some 11/0 seed beads. So I picked out of the flowers, I picked one of the kind of larger round ones. I mean, they also have these spiky ones, but I picked these. So I picked a yellowish one. And then I picked two of these smaller flowers. So I picked green and this kind of peach colored one, but you can see, your set comes with a bunch of different colors, so you don't have to stick to the colors that I'm using. And then out of this awesome set, I am using the more pink. So there's also this more peachy colored one, but I'm using this more pink colored stone for mine. Okay. Aside from that, you'll need something to cut your thread with. You'll need some pliers to help with your jump ring. You'll need a beading needle. I'm using a size 11, and I'm using this gold colored thread. I'm using KO, but any kind of beading thread that you prefer is fine. And I'm just using this gold one because it blends in with the metal, so it doesn't show up as much. So see right here, for instance, you can barely see that there's thread here, but there is, but you can't really see it. So it just blends in a little better. Okay, so to begin, we're going to join our the top of our pink stone onto our hoop. Okay, so pick up your stone and go from the outside through to the middle. And leave kind of a 4-inch tail, just enough to kind of tie it off and thread it and sew it in at the end, okay? And here is a trick I've learned recently to make the back look a little prettier. You can add seed beads instead of just having your thread go across. So if you did the mermaid, if you watched my mermaid earrings, I really should have done this on those, and I just kind of forgot. So anyway, so go ahead, pick up 5 of your 11/0s, or however many will fit through your little stone, and they should just sit right there in the back, and then it looks a lot nicer. Okay, so now you're going to pick up your hoop, just go through it, and then you're going to go back through the whole and your 5 11/0s, which I am holding at a weird angle, so I'm struggling to get through them. Okay, once you've got through this second pass, it becomes easier because they fall in line a little better. Okay, I got through. Woo. All right, so we've now hooked our hoop, and we need it to sit kind of where we want it to be. So just mess around a little until you get it sitting nicely. Okay, so that's about right. And then I'm just gonna shorten my tail thread a little because it got a little long. Okay, so now I'm coming out underneath here. So if you're coming out under, go over. If you're coming out over, go under, and go back through your whole of your stone of your setting, plus all 5 of those seed beads again. Okay, so now it should be hooked on both sides. Okay, so try and get it centered. There should be a little gap at the top here, which you're going to need that for room to put a jump ring. So it shouldn't be like right flush up against it like this. There should be a little bit of a gap. But if you're pulling tight, it should kind of fit. All right, so I'm going to go over my hoop again. I'm going to pass back through the back again. Okay, and all those seed beads. So I'm just reinforcing, that's all I'm doing. And then I'm just going to push my tail through the hole to the back because it's currently on the front. Okay, so here's my tail. So now all I need to do is tie a knot, and I want the knot to be on the back so it's less obvious. So I'm going to try and tie it as close up to where my tail is coming out as I can. So I'm going to pull it over that way a little bit. And I'm just tying a square knot. I'm doing right over left and left over right. Okay. So I've tied my knot, and now I'm just going to push my tail back through into the stone and through all those beads. Okay, and I can cut my thread off. And I had threaded like 3 feet, so I'm just going to use this to continue working, but I will quickly thread my tail here, and I'm going to pull that through as well and cut that off. So I will do that, and then I'll be back and we'll continue on with the next part. Okay, so our top bit is connected, but it's kind of swinging around like a child on a playground at the moment. So let's sort that out. Okay, so go ahead and pick up, get your stone again, and go through one of the holes from the outside to the inside. Okay, and just hold on to your tail there, leave that tail. And this is kind of similar to what we just did. We're going to pick up 5 of our seed beads again, and we're going to sew through the other hole on the other side. And make sure those beads pop down in there nicely. Okay, whoops. And just hold that tail. Make sure you don't lose your tail yet, okay? And you want to try and get this as centered as you can. We're going to pick up one of our 11-0 seed beads. We're going to push it down until it's right up against the setting, okay? And then, so my thread's coming out underneath here. So I'm going to go over the top and I'm going to go through my bead again, and I'm going to go through my 5 seed beads on the inside, and I'm going to pop out from the other side. And so now that side is connected, okay? So I've got my tail here. I'm just going to pretend it's not there at the moment. I'm going to pick up one seed bead. I'm going to push it down. So I'm coming over my hoop, so I'm just going to go underneath and go through it so that my thread is technically coming from under, but it's easier for me to sew through from the top. So my thread is coming from under, and I'm going back through the entire line of beads again in this inside, okay? All right, so we've got one connection. We're going to reinforce. So go through that one seed bead again. I'm going to go under and come up through the center of my hoop again to get my thread going around it, and then I'm going to pass all the way through all those beads again. Come out the other side, and I'm going to go through the bead there as well. Then I'm going to come under my hoop, and I'm just going to go through that very first bead right there. Okay, so now we're going to tie a knot because we're at the same place as our tail. So just go ahead and tie a knot. So I'm just doing right over left and left over right. Okay, so that is now fixed on, and it should feel pretty sturdy, okay? If you want, you can put your needle and sew off your tail. I'm just going to hold mine out of the way for now, but okay. So now we're ready to begin. So this is, we're coming out right here. We're going to sew in to the other side right here, and we're going to sew through those 5 beads on the inside. So I'm not going through any of the outside beads. I'm just going through the inside beads. And if I can get myself out the other side, that would be great. Oop, I'm coming through that bead. I don't want to come through that one. I just want to come through. Okay. So I'm just coming through my 5 inside beads at the moment. And what I want is I want a thread that is going to fit around the bottom here. Now, if you pull it tight, it's going to go like this. So you need to kind of keep your tension loose enough that it sits so that it can kind of pass around this little circle here, okay? So I know it's a little tricky, but just do your best here, okay? Then you're going to go up through that one seed bead that's right there. Okay, so already I've just messed up my tension, so I need to give myself a little bit of slack there, okay. All right, so now we're going to pick up one seed bead and we're going to push it down. And we're going to sew underneath this thread that we have here. So we're doing brick stitch here, okay? And then where our thread is coming out from, we're gonna sew back in to that same seed bead, but going over the top. So we sewed under the thread, now we're going over the thread. So we're sewing onto that thread. Okay, and here is where you can tell if your tension is too tight or too loose. So it should start to settle down now. Okay, so now we're going to pick up another seed bead. We're going to go under the thread. And then we're going to sew back into that seed bead. And we're going to attach like this, okay? And what we want is we want to sew 5 seed beads. So 1, 2, we want 3 more going around here. So we're just doing the same thing over and over, picking up a seed bead, going under the thread, and then go over the thread and back into the seed bead from the same side that your thread is coming out of. So this is brick stitch, okay? So I'll quickly do 2 more. Okay, so I've got my 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm coming out the top of this one here. I'm gonna just sew into this one at the end, just to join them together. Okay. And then I'm going to go back up through the second one. And I'm going to go down through the third one. And when you're going back down, don't do what I just did. I was coming out underneath and I went over the top, which means that when I pull it, my thread is going to be looped around my hoop. See, you have to make sure that when you're doing this, you're coming on the same side. So I was coming from underneath, so I'm just going to get my thread over the top and then I can go down that one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up that thread that we brick stitched around as well. I don't know if you can see that, but go under that thread and then go back out that second 11-0. So, well, third, I guess, if you're looking at it. Okay, so now we're going to pick up 3 of our 11-0s and we're going to push those down. And then we're going to go, so I'm coming out underneath, so I'm going to go over the top and I'm going to sew through all 3 plus the one that we started at. Okay, so this now looks like this. Now I'm going to sew down the next one, which is the middle one. And I'm going to pick up 5 of my 11-0s. So 5, push them all down. I'm coming out underneath, so I'm going over the top. If you're going over the top, make sure you sew back underneath. And I'm going up all those seed beads again. So I don't want to pull too tight here because I want this to be at the bottom. So I've got to make sure my tension is right here. Okay, and then I'm going to sew down the next seed bead. And actually I'm going to come out from the bottom, so I'm going to sew through my hole. I just find it easier to come out from the bottom and sew over the top. I'm going to pick up my 3 seed beads. I'm going to push those down. And then I'm going to go back up through all 4 of those beads. Okay. So what you want is you want it to kind of sit like this. So you kind of have like you're like a starburst effect. Okay. So it should look like this on the back at the moment. All right. So now I'm going to go underneath this thread that we brick stitched around, which you probably can't see, but I'm going under the thread right here, okay? So go under your thread and then go back down through that same channel. Make sure you're going over the top and only go through 3. And if you pull your thread and it comes back down, then you didn't go around your thread. Okay, so I'm going to push through to the front here. So I'm coming out from the one just before the end. And I need to look, so I need the pink is going to be on this side. So I'm going to go from the back through to the front of my pink flower. And I'm going to pick up also an 11-0. And I push it all down. Okay. And then I skip the 11-0, I go back through the pink flower, and I'm going to push, okay, so it's like this, and then turn over, and remember how we were coming out from the second to last one. I'm going to sew into that last bead. And I'm going to go around the bead hoops. I just passed through, so I was going underneath. I'm going to go over the top now. So I'm hooking onto my hoop, and then I'm going to go up all 4 of those beads again. So I'm just reinforcing that join by sewing around again. Okay, so now we have our first flower is attached on. So now we're going to do the same thing for the next 2 flowers. We're going to sew down to the second to last bead. So not that one. Yeah, so you want to leave 1 bead at the end, okay? Go through to the front. I'm going to pick up my yellow flower and a seed bead and push those down. And then I'm going to go back through the yellow flower and I'm just flipping over so I can see what I'm doing on the back. Then I'm going to go down through that very last seed bead here. Okay, so here I'm coming over the top, so I'm going to go through the hoop so that I've gone around it, okay, and then I'm going to go up through all that entire middle row. You just have to make sure that you're actually hooked around the hoop when you're doing this, okay? And if you're, when you finish, if your things are sliding around a lot, you can actually put a little dab of glue here to hold them in place. But because of gravity, they kind of will fall in the right place anyway. So I'm just gonna turn that flower, just tweak those a little, there we go. All right, so now we have one more flower to attach. So we're coming out the top. Same thing again, we're gonna go down the first 3 beads. We're gonna go through to the front. We are going to pick up our green flower, enter from behind, and our 11-0. And then we're going to go back through our green flower. I'm going to flip back over so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to go through that very last seed bead. I'm going to hook through the hoop. And I'm going to go back up that line of beads right there. Okay, so now all 3 of my flowers are attached on, and we just have to tie off our thread, and then we can put our jump ring and we're finished. So I'm going to sew over to here to meet my thread. So I'm just going to go, well, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can either go up here and go through, but the through way is probably pretty full by now. So I find it easier to just go down one here, go up the next one, go down and go up. It's the easiest way to get over there. Okay, so I got back to where my thread is, so I'm just going to tie another knot in the exact same spot as my first knot. If you've already cut your thread off, you can just knot anywhere you want. And then I'm just going to weave through some beads and cut my thread off. All right, I'm just going to cut my thread here. And I'm going to sew in my other thread really quickly. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, if you want to, you can put a little dab of glue to hold your threads in the right spot. I don't really think it's necessary because we've reinforced these, because of the shape of the beads, they kind of hold in place. But it's up to you. You know, you might want to reinforce that. So that's what the back looks like. And this is what the front looks like. And we've make sure you make a mirror image. So when you're making them, just check that you're making them the right way. All right, so now all we have to do is just attach everything. So I'm just going to open my jump ring. And like I said at the beginning, if you don't want to have the extra hoop at the top, you don't have to. I think it's very pretty even without the extra hoop. So I'm just wiggling my jump ring open and getting it lined up before I even start. I want to make sure that it's going to close nicely. So that looks pretty good. See how it's all lined up here. So now I'm going to twist it open. So once you get your jump ring and your ring on there, can close that up. And I always give it a little wiggle back and forth so I know it's kind of hardens the metal a little bit. Okay, so there's that. And now I can just twist open my earring and hook that on and twist that closed. Okay, and there we have it, our two really cute, fun earrings. And I mean, these are actually quite quick and easy. I think these would be great for a wedding if you did it, you know, in whatever colors. I mean, you could do the white flowers with maybe a touch of blue for the bride, for their something blue. That would be so pretty. Or, you know, if they were matched to their, whatever your colors are for your wedding. I think a white stone with, yeah, sort of pink and the pink and a purple and a blue would be really pretty. So yeah, there's so many options with these, but I really love how these came out. I'm quite pleased with that. And I love this. I think it looks really cool on the back as well. You know, if you didn't want to put the flowers and you just wanted the little starbursts, it's kind of cool as well. So okay, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you have a YouTube channel and you happen to be watching this and you have over 100 subscribers, you could also do what I'm doing for Beebeecraft. So I will put a link below where you can find out more information about that if you're interested in doing that. And if you don't have a website but you want the materials, again, I will put a link down below. Highly recommend that you check them out. They have some great prices and they have like just thousands and thousands of items. So, okay guys, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.